Welcome back to another Minecraft and Reddit stories video. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone so much for all the engagement and comments and likes and views. It's so much appreciated. I'm going to read some Reddit stories, and in the background you'll see me playing some Minecraft where I go to the pillager outpost. I do a bit of mining and I find this trials thing which I've never seen before, and then I also make my first animal farm. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the first story. This first story comes from Am I Overreacting? And it's titled, Am I Overreacting for Breaking Off My Engagement? I, female 24, recently broke off my engagement with my fiancé, male 24, because he refused to sign a prenup. We have been together for over 2 years. 2 years dating, 4 months engaged. From the beginning, I have always been very open about the fact that I will not get married without a prenup. And if that's a deal breaker, then this relationship will not work. He was completely fine with this and understood. Somehow, he found out just how much I'm worth, which was wrong, and got mad at me for hiding this from him. I reminded him that this is all from my parents' hard work, and I would want this protected, and even my parents wouldn't want this money going to anyone but me and my sister, and eventually their grandchildren. This blew up into an argument, and said it's unfair and he's entitled to my money if we get married. I told him this money isn't liquid, and regardless, I've always told him I will not get married without prenup, and that he's making me feel like he's just wanting to marry me now for my parents' money. He then said the classic, "Why get a prenup if you love me? We won't get a divorce." To which I retaliated with, "If we're not getting a divorce and you love me, why would this matter to you?" This argument became too much, and he put his foot down on not signing, so I told him I won't be marrying him, to which him and his family said I was overreacting and called me selfish. Am I overreacting? And there's an edit to address a few more things. Some of my assets are an inheritance / a trust. I still have a job and make a good amount of money. He also makes good money and by no means comes from a struggling background, which made me more surprised. I never hid anything. I honestly don't even know exact numbers of my inheritance, just an idea, but he knew I lived a comfortable life just from my day-to-day / home life and from our conversations. We had both agreed that we'd have a joint account for our shared expenses and our future kids. I did tell him we can discuss this with lawyers and both our parents if he wanted, but he refused and said there shouldn't be any prenup at all. When he said he was entitled to the money, I assumed he meant it as, we're going to be family, so I should have access as well. I don't think that this person is even slightly overreacting, and I believe that there are quite a few red flags that prove this fact. One of which is almost saying that he's entitled to that money and their family's money, which if I was in that position, I would immediately start to think about my future with this person and whether they have the right sort of ethics and beliefs, especially when this person said that a prenup was non-negotiable for marriage. He agreed to that fact, but then he switched it up when it became convenient or effectively a better offer came across the table. I know it's the same person, but as soon as they found out this information, they immediately backtracked. So someone who's going to say one thing and do the other and have these sorts of opinions, can you ever really trust them, especially when they're supposed to be having this, the closest relationship you'll ever have in your life? Also, I think the misconception of a prenup from their fiancé in this situation is quite telling. It's not that they're planning to have a divorce, it's more that they want to set some basic protection and responsibility and boundaries, which you're more than entitled to in this sort of a situation. It also managed to bring out this person's true self, so I think it was a fantastic thing to mention from the beginning. Along the lines of prenups as well, if it's a fair one, then it shouldn't threaten him either. The goal from this person is to just protect inherited assets and not punish him directly, which I can imagine from how he is. He's quite an emotionally manipulative person and would probably try and position it as such. This next Reddit post is from Confession, which is titled, "I changed a road sign to make my commute easier 13 years ago. On my daily commute there was very inconvenient no right turn between 7 and 9:30 am sign. I had to make the right turn about 7:20 am every day. For a long time I would just break the law and make my turn anyway, or go around if I thought there was too many people watching. But, maybe out of boredom, I did a bit of research and found the ticket for the illegal turn was more than buying a sign from the supplier that makes signs for our area and several other locations. So I ordered a new sign that was no right turn between 7:30 am to 9:30 am. I figured it was a good investment. I went to the trouble of buying it through an alias and having it sent to a location that was not at all near to where I was. Real cloak and dagger stuff, but it was part of the fun. Then, in the middle of the night, I went and removed 2 bolts and put up the new sign. At first I was expecting for it to be removed or someone look into it, but it is more than a decade later and no one ever noticed or changed it. And yes, I did think of just taking it down, but I figured that would be noticed by someone, and to be honest, the whole scheme of getting a new one was part of the fun. I see this as quite a funny thing to do, and if I was to see a sign that's inconvenient to me, I would think about doing that, but I wouldn't actually do it. And the fact that someone has done it, it's quite funny. Having had a read through the comments as well, apparently a lot of people that are in sort of construction or printing say that sign suppliers don't really question orders. Most people assume that signage is legitimate, so it kind of slides under the radar. So having bought something like this could be very easily real, and it seems like they've assumed that it's real, hence why they've fulfilled the order. Coming back to this, it's actually difficult to not see this as sort of innovative and potentially helping a lot of people who didn't necessarily know they were being helped. So I think I'm actually veering on the side of it being a good thing rather than a bad thing. But that's why this makes it a fantastic confession, because I think it is so divisive. This next post is from Advice, which is titled, "I was told I was immature by a man I was seeing because of my woman cave. Not sure where to go from here. I, 33 female, was told I was a little immature by a man, 38 male, because of my woman cave, for lack of a better term. I have a special room in my house that's devoted to all things I love. It houses my immense pinned insect collection, my Elden Ring / Souls figurines and decor, my Futurama portraits, and the rest of my video game memorabilia. I'm torn. On one hand, I really like this person and want to continue dating. He has a great personality and we have fun together. But I also don't appreciate being called immature for loving the things I do. I'm a working professional with a comfortable salary, responsible, and I have my life together. I did bring up his comment, but he just mentioned I have immature tastes and not that I'm explicitly immature. Is it worth continuing? Or should I let this one go? I don't see myself changing, but I also don't want to be so inflexible that I push people away. In my opinion, I think that you shouldn't change or shrink yourself to fit someone else and what they believe and what they think. If you enjoy having a woman cave, if you have those interests, I think it's a healthy and joyful thing to have, and a fantastic way to express yourself. And you shouldn't downgrade your interests just to keep someone comfortable or happy. I also think that this man's comment in this regard was quite a disrespectful one. Even if it's not his thing, putting you down for it is a bad sign, especially this early into the relationship. And I think that if you love someone and you appreciate someone, then you can also learn to love their interests. Or even if you don't love them, you can come to appreciate that they enjoy it, especially when it isn't something dangerous or malicious. It's very tame and it's just someone having a hobby. The moment you have someone trying to take away that hobby from you or ruin it or put it down, then that's when you need to reflect on whether this is a good person. Following on from that, I feel that if you were to stick in this sort of a relationship, it could only escalate if this relationship became more serious. And if he's judging it now, he's probably going to expect this person to hide it or get rid of it or grow out of it later, especially if they move in together. Again, sort of going back to what I said about sort of just pushing it out completely. And at that point, are you not allowed to have any hobbies? I think that there's a pretty significant mismatch in terms of values and joy, not her maturity in this case. She's a functioning adult with passions, and he's coming off as very sort of narrow-minded and joyless. However, I think that if this person did want to continue this relationship, they need to probably have a direct conversation, make it non-negotiable in terms of her hobbies aren't up for ridicule, and only proceed in this relationship if he genuinely sort of owns it and respects it going forward. You don't want to be hiding who you are as a person, especially for a long period of time. Otherwise, you're just being the person that he wants you to be. This next post is from What Should I Do? And is titled, Can I tell my friend to not bring his girlfriend over to my house? I, 34 male, like hosting small parties at my house. Nothing wild. Just a few friends, some drinks, hanging out, playing games, and chilling. My house is also very much my space. There are a couple rooms that are clearly off limits, and I have a couple expensive art pieces in my living room that I'm careful about. Last time I hosted, one of my friends brought his girlfriend. I haven't known her for very long. At one point, she touched one of the paintings, even after I told her not to. It wasn't subtle or an accident. I then told her a bit firmly to not touch my painting again. After that, she gave me really hostile looks the rest of the night. Didn't say anything to me or anyone else, just death stares. I'm not confrontational, so instead of calling her out in front of everyone, I pulled my friend aside and told him what had happened. He apologised and seemed embarrassed, which I appreciated. That said, I really don't want her in my house again. She's never liked me and always changes the vibes of the house. I don't feel comfortable having someone in my house who ignores basic boundaries, especially when I'm the one hosting and responsible for the space and the stuff in it. Would it be wrong to tell my friend I don't want his girlfriend coming over anymore? I think quite a significant sort of part of this, and what I've seen through a lot of comments as well, is, well, if it's your house, then it's your rules, and you can decide whether you want to invite someone into your house or not. That's your space, as you quite rightly put out in the post, and you're well within your right to control who comes inside. You pay for it, you pay for the belongings in your house, and if you feel that they're at a potential risk because someone isn't listening to you and respecting your boundaries, then absolutely, you have every right to choose to leave them out. I don't think that he's even being remotely petty in this sort of a situation. He set those very clear boundaries, and she ignored it. She changed the vibe, as he said, and acted somewhat hostile. So it's a home boundary issue rather than being petty. In terms of how I would go about framing that to a friend if I was in this sort of a position, again, I think it would just be a one-on-one situation, which he seemed to do at the time. But yeah, very calmly say something along the lines, if you're always welcome, but please don't bring her. If it's a proper friend and a true friend, I think that they would appreciate that and understand it in that sort of a situation. If they then start to act hostile towards you, then maybe you've found out who this friend really is as a person, and whether they're actually a friend at all. If anything, it might wake your friend up to this relationship and reflect upon things that maybe he was glossing over originally, but actually now looking on it and seeing other people notice things about her. Maybe it might surface some things that he needed to really reflect on. And I know that this person likes hosting these small parties at their new house, but alternatively, with this one friend, if you do want to maintain a relationship but maybe not have that conversation, or if it isn't resolved as you want it to be, then maybe you just have to meet somewhere else or do stuff at his place. Anyway, to avoid hosting this girlfriend in your house and your space. But I would definitely enforce the boundary of your house, which might potentially mean accepting the consequence of you enforcing it. He might choose to stop coming over if she can't come as well, but that's his choice. You shouldn't sacrifice your own comfort on your home boundaries to avoid any awkwardness. This next post comes from Relationship Advice, and it's titled, "Me, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 23 female, are breaking up, and I feel like I'm committing a mistake since she told me every girl is like this. I, male 24, have been dating my female 23 girlfriend for almost 3 years, and we have recently been going through a difficult phase. There are many reasons for our recent problems. At first, everything happened very quickly. We started dating very quickly and moved in together. I feel guilty because I'm her first boyfriend and she is my third girlfriend. I should have been wiser, but I got carried away by the euphoria of our first dates. For a few months now, we've been having some problems because of our differences. It's as if little things that happened in the past happen so often that they become bigger and at some point turn into a problem, such as the fact that we are very differently emotionally speaking. I'm very calm and seek a peaceful relationship and dialogue with her and everyone close to me. She is practically the opposite. She gets angry easily, swears, hits things, and gets triggered by the smallest things, like dropping something on the floor. I feel like she is going to explode at someone at any moment, and when we have a problem, she retreats into silence and gives me the cold shoulder, followed by nothing's wrong, while I seek dialogue. We have talked about this a lot, but nothing ever changes. Yesterday, we argued because she is one of those people who has an opinion about everything and everyone, who always knows what everyone should do, always has criticism for everyone around her, and always speaks her mind. She has a very strong personality and seems proud of it, and apparently it runs in the family. We ended up arguing because she didn't want to spend Christmas with me and my family, and she justified it by saying that she doesn't want to be around my siblings because she doesn't like them. The reason? She thinks my 6-year-old sister is spoiled, and that's why she doesn't like her. She thinks my 11-year-old brother is messy, and my 17-year-old brother is useless. She disagrees with how my mum deals with them and says I should do something about it. Can you understand? Since when is that her problem? That's what bothers me. Her having an opinion about everything and everyone, knowing what everyone should do and making a point of speaking up. Because that's how she is, and deal with it, you know? I told her yesterday that it bothers me that she's so bossy about it, and she said it bothers her that I'm so easygoing, simply because I mind my own business and don't always act like a know-it-all. Yesterday, after the argument, I said it was better to break up, because I can't take it anymore. I believe there should be differences, but not ones that make you roll your eyes. She said that everyone is like her and has an opinion about everything, but I don't believe that's true. People I've known in the past weren't like that. Even though I told her I want to break up, I still feel guilty and feel like I'm demanding too much from her and I'm creating trouble. What do you think? I mean, from my initial perspective, it seems as if these two individuals aren't compatible with each other. I think that differences are good and can be good, but I feel like in this situation where it's pushing them into having arguments a lot of the time and having very polarizing but argumentative opinions, is quite problematic. One thing that I sort of stood out to me from what she was sort of saying after the argument was the every girl is like this, which is a bit of a red flag in my eyes. I feel like that's just an excuse or manipulation to make them tolerate behaviour that they don't want, which they've clearly sort of tried to state. Also, I feel like it's very important to not let a bad relationship redefine your standards in terms of normal being the benchmark, which it shouldn't be, and healthy should be instead sort of it being about respect and trust and consistent communication. And speaking from a personal standpoint, I'm in a very healthy relationship where we can have differing opinions about stuff, but we have a very civil conversation about it, and we understand each other's side of the story, but always come to a resolution without having a shouting match or anyone getting angry or swearing or hitting things, or what it seems that the girlfriend in this situation does. I think that in this situation, if it's been ongoing and draining for this person, that leaving is a very reasonable thing to do, even if she says that she'll change, but she hasn't stated that at all. It's more pushing the problem onto him, rather than sort of owning up to potentially her downfalls. In terms of feeling guilty about this breakup and that he's demanding too much from her and that he's creating trouble, I don't think that that is even remotely true. I think that if he goes back now on his word or back into this relationship, that he's more going back out of fear and doubt, and not because the relationship is actually a healthy one. And that is definitely not a good reason to stay. If anything, I think it just delays the inevitable. I think he's also probably better off being single than staying in something where he's constantly questioning himself and being told that that is just how it is, and that's how people have opinions and react to things. So, in conclusion, I think that the breakup is probably for the best in this situation, and that he shouldn't feel guilty, and that should be the end of it. This last story comes from Off My Chest, which is titled, "My husband had the nerve to ask me to help him raise his affair child. He didn't even try to deny that he's cheating. He had an affair with one of his colleagues, and she's pregnant. He asked me to help raise the child he's going to have with another woman. He even said it would be a case of sharing custody, so we would still have time for ourselves. I'm going to stay with my sister. She said I can have her guest room for as long as I need it. I'm leaving tomorrow, and I'll be going to see a divorce solicitor after Christmas. I haven't told anyone yet. Even my sister doesn't know all of the details. I will tell everyone once I've moved out of our flat. I need to tell someone now, though. I've been sick over this." The only reaction I can give to this is just, wow, the absolute nerve of the husband to act like this. There is no excuse for having an affair. Getting this person pregnant and then asking your current wife to help mother this child, to raise this child. I can only say that this is a horrible person, and I think that divorce is the only option, and that is a fantastic plan. It's an awful situation to be in. Also, why doesn't he just raise the child with that other woman? So the original poster has left a comment which is around that point, and apparently it's because he doesn't want a divorce and because she's also married. Though I'm not sure if I should believe anything my husband says, given how much he has lied already. Wow. Two terrible people. I also want to commend this person for how they've handled this situation with such grace and composure. I'm not sure that in that situation I would be able to do the same. the fact that she is so calm and collected and taken herself out of the situation and set things up to completely separate herself from this is very amicable, and I have a lot of respect for it. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed all of this, and I'm really enjoying making these videos, so they're going to continue coming either way. If you have enjoyed them, then please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one. And again, thank you very much.